Welcome to our episode of our podcast, Don't Chew With Your Mouth Open, where we'll discuss business, economics, finance, investments, and wealth creation for the global south. Welcome back to Don't Chew With Your Mouth Open. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate your viewership. Today, we're speaking about choosing your hard. Often, we've been sold a myth that tells us as we live our lives, we get to opt out of difficult things. But in reality, an opting out in and of itself is a choice. So you have an option today. What hard are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the hard of discipline, budgeting, managing yourself, controlling your income, controlling your expenditure? Or are you going to choose the hard of the chaos of lack of funding, lack of finances, of sleepless nights, increasing and mounting debt, and continuous phone calls from debt collectors? So today we want to speak about how do we go about dealing with choosing your hard and which hard you should be choosing. Additionally, we'll also unpack the psychology of why people choose not to do hard things. And we'll continue to focus on dealing with what seems is easy, but in reality is also hard. I hope you enjoy the episode. Why is controls, systems, and budgeting key to your life? That sort of discipline provides you with a sense of freedom, a freedom of knowledge about where you are and what you can and cannot do. It allows you to also prepare yourself for bigger and broader expenses that you might want to take on in your life. We are often told, I don't have enough money to budget. But in reality, you do. You must have control for every dollar, every rand that's in your account, and it must be accounted for. There's a book that was once written by Ben Horowitz, speaks about the hard things about hard things, and is talking about why it's important to take on the difficult things to gain freedom, whether it's fitness, whether it's mental health, whether it's your financials, which are what we're talking about today. It's important for you to get control. Budgeting is not about restrictions. It's not about hurting yourself or making yourself not enjoy your life. It's fundamentally about control, managing how you go about spending your money. And that control then gives you freedom. And it's important that we continue to look at these controls. Now, why should we look at them? Because when you can account for your money, you can then plan. So we have a saying, if you don't watch your money, you will watch it go. You've got to watch where you spend, how you spend, and your habits. Those habits will then dictate how you become more financially stable and more financially secure. So the concept of budgeting, which is managing your income and your expenses, is not a restrictive exercise. It's a freedom-giving exercise. It's a difficult thing. It's hard. But you've got to choose your hard. I once had a friend who started a job which didn't pay much. And he would walk from home to the office so he could save between 300 and 500 rand a month. And those savings grew to a sizable portion. They became the initial capital he used to start a business. Today, he runs a successful business out of Bloemfontein. And the point of all of that is that he chose his hard. He opted to choose sacrifice and discipline to put himself in a position to win. You also can do the same. Fear not about what you are missing out on. Be glad that you have the opportunity to opt into something you really want. The ability to sacrifice and do what's necessary today so you can reap the benefits tomorrow have long-term and lasting effect. I myself went through this. For 7 years, me and my family rented a home in Midrand. We saved the income to be able to buy the home we live in today. We're able to put in a substantial deposit because we made that hard and difficult sacrifice. So you have that same option as well. You can choose your hard. You can have the hardship of continuously having to sleepless nights, of having uncomfortable circumstances, or you can choose the hard of discipline, of budgeting, of managing yourself well. So how do I build a simple and manageable budget? You take your income, you note down all your expenses, and whatever you have left is what shows you what you can save. But unfortunately, most of us, we live our lives through through expenses first, rather than through savings first. We should all have savings targets. We should all have a compression of our income. We were at a dinner recently and discussing with a group of friends how our income is determining our lifestyle. Rather, our expenses and how we control them and our savings should be determining our lifestyle. And that way we are able to be free. You're able to be free to say no to certain things. You're able to free to say yes to others. I have a friend of mine who we went to university with. He would keep all his cash in his wallet. And whatever money he had left for that month, that's all he spent. And that discipline has helped him today as he's gone on to build a successful business and is a millionaire. The point is, the budgeting and the saving and the constructive way of managing your money is the hard we should all choose. So how do we discipline ourselves? Unfortunately, as a good friend of mine often says, these things are not microwavable. It's something you must do every day. The discipline of how you spend, where you go, what you do on a daily basis is how you build up brick by brick, slowly over time. The instinct is to go towards your impulses, that you will see tomorrow, doesn't matter what will happen today, well, we only live once. Yes, we do only live once, but we live long as well. So we've got to understand that we have to control the access to resources that we have today, and those resources should enable us to continue to grow and build on and compound our wealth. Contrary to what you see in my height, I used to play basketball. And I had a basketball coach who always used to say to us, you only fall as far as your systems. The systems you put in your life are the bedrock of what happened. So you need to design a system that suits your character, suits your goals, suits your intentions. And that system put in place will enable you to go further. For example, I have a system where I have a specific cash amount for coffee every month. Once that cash amount is finished in that envelope, I no longer can have coffee. That enables me to limit my coffee experiences to that envelope of cash. You can decide on a system that works for you, that works perfectly in your environment, in your settings. And yes, whether you make 1 rand or 1 million rand, there is scope to manage how you spend your money. The amount of money is not the issue, it's the discipline. Once the discipline as a system is there, as your money grows, so will your savings, so will your investment capacity, and so will your financial security. So, what are we saying? Stop waiting for things to sort themselves out, they won't. Talk to those people you owe money, come up with a plan to repay. Look at how you're spending your cash, reorient your life. Will it be easy? No. But you've got to start where you are. As you start and you build, over the course of time, you will begin to build a strong foundation for yourself. And once you begin to build that foundation, you can then put yourself on the path of financial security. Yes, it's hard, but you've got to choose this hard, because the alternative hard will cause you a lot of pain, trauma, and difficulty. So what's our statement today? Choose your hard. Thank you for watching. Don't chew with your mouth open. We'll see you in the next episode.